All right, now that there is a couple people on, I will begin for tonight. So, as usual, welcome to the live webinar series with the Holistic Nutrition Hub. This is number 5. I can't believe it's already been 5 weeks since we've been doing these webinars. It's honestly crazy. So thanks for being here as usual. I am just going to fix my presentation so that I can flip through properly. And I want to wish you guys, first of all, a happy Halloween. I hope that it's not too disrupted with everything that's going on. I dressed up a zombie today, so that was pretty exciting. And he went down and did a candy hunt like Easter. So it's a little bit backwards. Anyways, so we are going to be talking about how to price your services tonight. And starting a nutrition business is extremely challenging. And you need to establish your business structure, as we've talked about, find your niche, and actually start getting nutrition clients. But one of the hardest parts of all is to determine the price of your nutrition consulting services. So we're going to be chatting a bit about how to price your services when starting your business, depending on your competition, the coaching style, your goals, and other parameters that really matter. So like in every other, that's my happy Halloween. Sorry, I lost my spot because of the Halloween thing. So like in every other industry, there's no one size fits all answer. But tonight we'll give you a couple ideas on how to get started when deciding to price your structure. With pricing structure and what will work best for you and your nutrition business. So first of all, the agenda for tonight is, as usual, welcome. I want you to really start thinking about your questions regarding pricing, and if they haven't gotten answered while I go through my presentation, just making sure that you ask them at the end or while I speak. And so how we price our services obviously is what we're talking about, and all the parameters to consider. So I know almost for certain that most holistic nutritionists don't learn how to price their packages or even what that could look like. Holistic nutrition school is just a holistic nutrition school. It's not actually going to teach you about business and how to price these things out. I wasn't even given going rates in the field. So when it came time to sit down and figure out my pricing, I was a little bit lost. So I didn't want to price my services too high because I knew that people would shy away from a high price tag. And I was also shocked to learn that if I priced my services too low, people were going to think that I was inexperienced or that I wasn't going to provide the best nutrition service possible. Obviously, people would think that I was underselling myself if I didn't have high pricing. So at the most basic level, your pricing strategy should consider the following. So you need to consider your operating expenses. These include things like your rent, the licensing fees, essentially the things that you are absolutely going to need to run your business. And then the costs involved then are going to include costs for hosting your website, your events, marketing, if you have employees. Those are some extra costs, but aren't necessarily needed right off the bat when starting a business. And then, of course, you need to know the profit that you'd like to make. You can't just jump into building a business and want to leave your 9-to-5 job that's comfortable if you don't know how much money you need to actually survive. So the amount of money you'll make each year is going to be what you need to live off, less your costs, right? So just like you do your budget, living on your own, you get money from your business, sorry, not from your business, but money from your company that you work for if you're not self-employed. And then you deduct all your expenses, and that's what you are left over with. And so that's literally how you have to look at it, because the profit that you make is what you're going to be actually taking home with you to pay your household bills. So the following considerations are going to help you come up with the optimal pricing strategy for your services when starting a nutrition business. This could also work for coaching pricing as well. And they're going to allow you and your clients to get the most out of everything from the beginning. So you need to make sure that you know your competition. So digging into the local holistic nutritionist to see what they're charging and how they have their pricing set up is crucial. Knowing that your competition services that they're providing and at what price is going to help you actually set your consulting service rates effectively. Maybe someone has a similar offer priced really low, but then when you go through the reviews, you see that they provide horrible service and they have really bad reviews. The second person that you find is marketing themselves as quote unquote the best in the business and charges double what the other person does. Then you start doing a quick search of their websites and they have, 10 different certifications and hundreds of positive reviews. So when you're looking at the comparison between these two practitioners, you're going to want to make sure that you are thinking about other key aspects as well. So if you're looking at practitioner number one who is charging really little and has poor reviews, and then you're looking at holistic nutritionist number two who's stellar, has loads of experience, and is charging a lot, you want to do the same thing for yourself when you're starting to price your packages and consider these key aspects. So that's your skill level, the level of experience that you have. Do you have extra training and certifications that can make you not allowed, but available to increase your prices because you have more specific knowledge? What your reputation is in the field and industry. If you're not providing what your clients are coming to you for, they may not want to pay top dollar, right? They might see it as like, okay, here's the $30 fix. So the last thing that you want to make sure that you're taking into account as well is your location. Somebody in Nova Scotia may not be able to charge as much as somebody in Vancouver, British Columbia, because the health and wellness sphere is so saturated in Vancouver, it's very competitive. So making sure that you can explain the added value that you offer to potential clients is something that you have to keep in mind. If you can't justify it in your pricings, then you really shouldn't be including it. So the second thing you want to think about is, are you going to be doing a coaching package versus a one-time service? So before I even dive into which pricing model would work best for you, you need to decide on a nutrition business model. So in terms of nutrition consulting, that would mean thinking about whether you're looking to act as a coach with an ongoing package, or if you want to sell one-time packages. And this is crucial in how you decide to price your offer. If you're coaching, people in a lifestyle change, or, do you just want to bang out some meal plans for people hoping that they're going to stick to it? So the choice is really yours, but you need to make sure that you know which one you'd like to provide. Next, you have to consider also your costs and your salary goals. So I have, I believe, in the free business course, a expense sheet that will help you kind of track all your expenses and your income. And that might be a good tool to kind of play around with here and just get some numbers on paper and start figuring that out. So your main financial goal should be to bring in enough money to pay your bills, right? Your household bills, and have something left to show at the end of the day. So this goes for also having enough money to pay your business bills. So that's first, business bills, and then household bills. So if you're just scraping by in your business and you're not making a profit, um, it's not going to be worth it in the long run for you to continue that way. So there's a really lovely formula here. And let's say that right now you're working at your 9 to 5 job, you're making $45,000 a year, and that's what you need before taxes to bring home for you to be able to function in your household. This gross income amount could be, your partner works full time and you can get by with half of your normal gross income. So this number could be 20,000, it could be 45,000, it could be 100,000. Whatever your income is, that number is for you to set, obviously. And then you need to determine, in line with your business goals, how many hours a week do you want to work? Do you want to go from full-time work to part-time work? So here we have the gross income of $45,000 for the entire year. This person would like to work 20 hours per week. And that means that the hourly rate minimum that they need to make in order to meet this goal is $43.25. So you also need to determine what your costs of running your holistic nutrition business might be. So this is going to include the following things. And not everything has to be done right away, right? So you don't necessarily have to have a website right away, but that's something to think about. You're going to have banking fees, potential materials for promotion. Again, watch the free how to set your business up for free if you don't want to pay for things like business cards or other things like that. Rent, again, if you're working from home, there's no rent, but perhaps you want to work in a clinic, so there's going to be that aspect. Internet costs, licenses, insurance, your cell phone. I used my personal cell phone for a really long time and just deducted it off my taxes, etc., etc. So those are a few of the things you need to be remembering are going to be involved in pricing out your services. So now, once you've figured out all your costs, you add those to your hourly rate from the calculation above to get the minimum you should charge per hour. So let's give you a theoretical example again, just so we're clear. So we have the same gross income amount of $45,000 per year plus your costs. So this is on top of what you need to bring in personally to survive. And then you're left with $52,200. Now, we said this person wanted to work 20 hours per week on the previous side. And that means that over the course of the year, they're going to be working 1,040 hours. And that's pretty amazing. Because that's really part-time and would give a lot of time freedom to a person who's looking to have it. It also goes to show that you don't have to work a lot in a nutrition business if you're charging what you're worth. And that means that you can make a lot more money than what you're probably used to. So this theoretical person would then make an hourly rate of $50. So however they priced it out for themselves is going to include this $50 rate in mind. So your hourly rate depends on the factors below. What industry you're in. So in the holistic nutrition industry, there are many areas that you can be in. How well you market yourself is going to include another one. Do you have something that sets you apart that makes you an expert? Do you have a Bachelor of Science? Do you have some other certifications that can make you be able to charge more? Also, what you're going into the industry with. So are you already somewhat of an authority, or are you already visible in your industry? And then it comes down to, legitimate referrals and recommendations. So do you have people who have already gotten proven results by working with you? And then you need to also figure out how many clients you need to make this $50 an hour rate work. So again, how your pricing depends. If you do a coaching package and you need to make $50 per hour and work 1,040 hours in a year, and you're doing a coaching package, that literally means that you only need to sell just over 1,000 hours of coaching at $50 to make what you need. So thinking about all of those and what your competitors are charging are going to really help you formulate the packages that you would like to offer. So there's a few different pricing models when you start out your holistic nutrition business. And so I'm going to go through a few of them which are relevant. So there's the hourly fee. And here you're simply exchanging your time for money, like I said. And the upside to that is that your clients don't need to actually commit to any large sum of money up front for a package. However, once your schedule actually starts filling up, you're going to have a hard time scaling your business with this pricing strategy, unless you start hiring employees to do the work for you. So for example, when I started Prep with Love, I did a hourly package rate. So if they bought a package of, say, 15 hours, the hourly rate that they paid was a little bit more. If they bought 30 hours, it was a little bit less money, and 45 hours was a little bit less money. And then if they didn't want to buy a package, they would charge premium dollar. So that would mean, for example, they'd pay, $60 per hour if they didn't buy a package, and then incrementally go up or down based on how many hours they bought. So then you move on to a group coaching where there's kind of a set time frame. And this model's like much more scalable than the hourly fee model. And the upside for the client is that you can price your group coaching at a lower price point than individual consulting sessions. So you're going to need, in this case, a larger influx of prospects to fill up your groups and bring them and be able to actually bring in the same amount of money as you would with an individual coaching model. So for example, this applies really well to anybody doing online group coaching, or, people mixing yoga into their nutrition business, or, personal trainers as well. And then next we have consulting packed services. And these are usually a one-time fee, and the nutrition consulting packages have the advantage of offering a lot of value to the client for a one-time payment. So you don't want to make the mistake of including too many time-consuming tasks for this lower price packages. So you want to carefully craft packages to A, provide services that a client will actually need, and B, make enough profit on each package to make it worth your time. In this model, you're still trading your time for money. So if you're going to go ahead and use this pricing model, I actually recommend that you set up 3 different packages with price ranges comparable to the following. So you have a package 1 at $100, package 2 at $300, and then package 3, and package 3 at $950. So why such an uneven distribution, right? When someone sees the package 3 option, they will use that as a reference point to compare the other packages to. So 300 doesn't look too expensive next to that 950. And someone is always going to also want that expensive option, so you might as well have one available. almost never does anybody go for that $100 package. They're like, that's probably not enough. Like, I'm definitely going to need package 3. It's a reasonable price. And maybe the 950 is just a little bit over the top. And so you know that, say, in that $300 package, that means that you should be working for that person no more than 6 hours. So that means that whatever you include in there can't be a total time suck, or else you're not going to be making that minimum of $50 per hour that you require, or the theoretical person requires. Now, the next one is individual nutrition coaching, and this is ongoing. And this model provides a big advantage from a business standpoint. So you can plan your income pretty much ahead of time, and you can set different parameters for new clients. So for example, they need to commit to 3 months minimum and ensure that you have this recurring revenue for your business. So your clients are also more likely to see results with this long-term approach compared to a one-time consulting option. This model can include certain initial features such as, assessments that we do, and then move to a weekly consult call email to support the client journey. Now, I believe this is the last one. Yes, the last coaching model is group coaching plus individual consulting, kind of as a hybrid. And you can decide to combine any of the above options, but this hybrid model was always my favorite. Here you will see you can get a low ticket group coaching model to get people in the door, and then provide them with amazing value and community perks. And once you have them brought into the process, you can upsell them to an individual consulting option to get them farther in their journey along health. So for example, you say you're offering this group program for 4 weeks at $99, and you get people into the group, you coach them through, and you continue to offer that $99. So your group continues to grow, and then that becomes a place where you can sell new offerings that you are creating. Or if people want to dive deeper into the basic plan that you've already done with them, you can create something a little bit more in depth. Now, you absolutely need to make sure that you are testing your nutrition service pricing. And one of the best ways to test your pricing is to do a limited time offer on your nutrition services. And testing the pricing before starting a nutrition business will help you, first of all, confirm that there's actually a demand for what you're offering. And 2, get feedback from your early adopters and hopefully get some testimonials that can further promote your business as well. So having actionable feedback before you finalize your packages or pricing will let you kind of make any changes as necessary, so you know you're offering the best service out there for your specific niche. Oh, I had it on the wrong slide again. So if you have access, obviously, to a community that accurately represents your target audience, that could be a Facebook group, a message board. I told my mentees earlier tonight that you could look at Quora.com, and that's Quora, Quora. And there's loads of questions put out there. So type in, things that are related to your specific niche and ask in there. You can offer your services out there too. And, you can actually ask them, what would you be willing to pay for a service like this? And that will give you an idea. Oftentimes, that's really the easiest way to determine if your pricing is right. Now, in conclusion, get your questions ready. There's a lot to think about when setting your prices for nutrition business. But having all this information at your fingertips should actually go a long way in helping you set the pricing confidently, because that's really how you're going to stay in the business, is knowing that you're making enough money to continue down the road when things get tough, or your mindset's a little bit off or whatever. Most importantly, though, don't be afraid to ask for what you're worth. If you're slightly uncomfortable with how high you set your prices, this is literally a sign that you're in the right area and in the right ballpark for your expertise. It should be more than what you would make working at a 9 to 5 position, because you are an expert in a field. So I am done my presentation for tonight. Pricing your services doesn't go much deeper than that. But if you have specific questions, please put them in the comments now. And remember, next week we are doing the live webinar number 6, and that's for the website must-haves. So what you should be including on your website and a little bit about why. So make sure you tune into that for next week. And I just want to say thank you so much. It is time for the Q&A portion. I promise that while you write your questions tonight about how to price your services, I will not close down the live. I will stay on for about 4 to 5 minutes just to see if anything comes in. All right, nobody has questions tonight. I will stay on for 1 more minute. So if you, oh, hi Laura, how are you? I'm staying now that you've said hi. Yeah, I'm going to stay on for a couple more minutes and answer questions. So I'm hanging tight. Oh, and sliding scales. That's a good question. Let me think about that for just a sec. I guess I did somewhat of a sliding scale. Are you talking about if somebody, for instance, you know, I guess sliding scales can mean two things. So I'm thinking of, they buy more hours with you, it becomes cheaper. So I did a bit of that with my Prep with Love business, like I mentioned earlier. You know, if it's sliding scales in relation to what the client is making and going that way, I'm not sure how that would be related to a nutrition business. That's usually more used in things, in the government, or where you're paying as a group or something along those lines. So if that doesn't answer your question, or you didn't hear what I said earlier about the sliding scales, with my Prepped with Love business, I'd be happy to answer that maybe more in depth when I know what you mean. But yeah, if a client is dedicating more time with you, and paying over a longer period of time, I definitely would discount it in some way, if that helps. All right, you guys, I am going to hop off of here. Have a good Halloween, and I hope that you, oh, see, charging for the hour and someone can't afford it and asking for help with fees. I think that's really a personal decision, to be honest. You know, I think that that really does come down to your niche and who your target market is. If you're going to come up against this issue a lot, then maybe it's something you want to think about. Um, but there's always a way, say somebody can't afford your services, for example, paying per hour. Um, Maybe you can convince them to, go in on a meal plan with a friend, or a few friends, and split the cost of that together. So they all get the benefit of the meal plan, but they're sharing it over a group instead. So there's ways of doing it, but I think that's, yeah, a more personal approach and would have to be, talked about based on niche sort of. All right, you guys, I am hopping off for tonight. I look forward